at thetokenteam.com, and you may get your chance to appear on Liquid Lunch Live.
Hey, and welcome back. Welcome back to this Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John.
Oh my God, I can't hear him.
Today, as we do every day.
Hey guys, I can't hear.
We do every day with my mic off. Welcome back. That was my fault, not the team's fault. We are struggling with many issues, but I am the biggest problem there is, and that's Scott Lebedo, just in the waiting room, about to come on with us. We're about to mix it up, and joining me again on the right, Republican Manny Alicandro, attorney and former candidate for New York City Public Advocate, and Robin Biro is a former Barack Obama campaign director, U.S. Army Ranger, veteran, and a JFK-loving Democrat. And thank you both for joining us. Robin, thanks for joining us on the line. So not only did they release the transcript of the call, now they released the whistleblower complaint. And the way I see it, it looks like another Wile E. Coyote cigar blowing up in their face. But I'd like to get your take on it.
There's a lot to unpack here. Whoever told him, though, that releasing that memorandum, the transcript, if you will, was a good idea, I just don't see how that was in his best interest. But I'm glad that we have the information. The takeaway there is that he did ask for them to investigate Joe Biden. They've already done that. And there were some nuanced maybe mentions about withholding the military aid and I can't really get a hold on it. He didn't outright say that he was going to withhold military aid until Joe Biden was investigated, but it was sort of nuanced. But I don't think there's anything that they can ding him on.
A little nuance in there. Manny, the other day they were saying, Adam Schiff, you must release the transcript of the call, and you must release the whistleblower complaint, and then. Now it's black and white. We can see it for ourselves if they release it. And now when they release, they go, well, you got to read between the lines a little bit there. You got to find the nuance in the language. What the heck is going on?
Look, I think we're having a constitutional crisis, seriously. I mean, we're reading between the lines to discuss about impeaching a president. I mean, that's an extremely serious process that we've undertaken only a couple of times in the history of our country. We better get it straight before we decide to move forward. I know impeachment is a political process, but you cannot use it for political means, right? The Democrats should run a candidate and win the election on the merits. Trying to go after Trump and impeaching Trump to either prop up Biden, I can't figure it out. Are they trying to prop up Biden, or they're trying to take Biden out to bring up Elizabeth Warren? I can't figure out their strategy, but we're talking about a nothing burger here. Right. It's a nothing burger.
This might be like a double CIA endeavor that the deep state is really trying to knock Biden out of the way now.
Could be.
And by making it look like they're going after Trump, they could start exposing all this stuff about Joe and Hunter and China and all this other stuff. So that might explain a lot of things. And me personally, Robin, I think if we were allowed to curse, I'd say it a little different, but it's a real crap show on the Dem side.
Yeah. To Maddie's point, Joe Biden is getting himself out of the way here. With every gaffe he makes and every weak response that he gives, he's going down in the polls. He's getting himself out of the way. Now, this conversation with the Ukrainian president occurred back in July. And fast forward now, a couple months later, Joe Biden's not looking so good. I think Elizabeth Warren's the bigger threat to President Trump. He ought to be looking more into her. I think she's more powerful to argue with, and she doesn't make as many mistakes now as Joe Biden. So I see her as the bigger threat.
Wow. So, Manny, you're a Republican. This must make you feel good that they're going for, hey, let's go with Elizabeth Warren because she makes less mistakes than Joe.
Right.
That's pretty scary.
I read something yesterday that fundraising for President Trump is just gangbusters right now. I mean, this whole impeachment is really motivating Republicans to support him. Okay,
that's right.
And at the end of the day, what it's doing to me as an attorney and someone who's a big fan of politics, a former candidate, as you mentioned, it's destroying the institutions established by our Constitution. Again, as I mentioned earlier, you can't use impeachment as a political tool. You can't just be talking about impeachment. You can't move forward in terms of impeachment inquiry, articles of impeachment, unless it's real. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the Democrats using impeachment to get a Democrat elected. I'm also concerned about the national security and international security interest vis-a-vis a conversation with the President of the United States. I mean, who has access to phone calls?
Yeah.
And what about if there's a national security interest? Mike Pompeo's on the line with Pence and Trump with a world leader. Is somebody just listening to that call? And if they don't like what they're hearing, they're going to file a whistleblower complaint? That's craziness.
Hey,
What's the
Robin,
security around that?
Robin, a lot of these life, career, intelligence folks, they're not on either side. They are in the kind of deep state. And doesn't it set a terrible precedent that now whoever controls the Congress can force the president to release the transcripts of all his most intimate conversations with other world leaders, and now at any time the whole world can get a readout. So it would probably hurts diplomacy in the long run.
That's a great point, and I agree with both of you, but with both you and Maddie. This sets a dangerous precedent
I ring
as
the
far
bell
as
when we all agree. Democrat, Republican, Independent, we're all on the same page. Terrible precedent. Thank you.
Yes, it's just being honest and calling a spade, which more people need to be doing that. This is dangerous, getting those phone calls between the leaders. I'm glad that the president released them himself rather than waiting for my party to subpoena them through Congress. But I'm concerned for our international diplomacy. This doesn't help our relationship with Ukraine. It doesn't help with Russia. So there are legitimate concerns that we all share here.
Okay, well, Robin, I want to thank you for being a at least thoughtful and practical Democrat, because sometimes we have some real wild cards on here who don't want to find any middle ground. But my final question is this for both of you guys. Income inequality is grown to a 50-year high, they say. And I think that this is being addressed by companies like creating games like Miss Monopoly, where the woman starts off with more. But what is this all about? I feel like there's more opportunity for women now, and this seems to say different.
I think it's something that we need to pay attention to and face, and I think we are. I think the problem is that we're not figuring out a way to address it. We just keep talking about it, right? We talk about pay equity differences. We talk about differences between how much a CEO makes, and one of the admin staff at that publicly traded company. At the end of the day, we have to make sure that people are paid fairly based upon what they contribute, their educational level. We need to look into this. But all I keep hearing are these reports. More and more of these reports come out, and I don't feel like anybody's doing anything about it, let alone, I don't even know where these reports are coming from. I don't even know the integrity of reports. Again, you can't use this income inequality as a tool to hurt people who make money. There's a war against capitalism for some particular reason, and it's pushed to be socialist or socialist in this country. You can't use this as a tool.
Robin, I give you the final word, final 30 seconds.
Income inequality is a big problem. I want to address specifically the income inequality in the rural areas, in the heartland. The president's got to do a better job of shoring that up, because that's where he's hurting right now, and that's how he won. So we're going to be capitalizing on that.
All right. Well, we'll keep you posted on all that. We care about income equality, sex, race, gender, all that stuff. Very important, and we got to get into the heartland with that stuff. I want to thank Robin, Biro, Manny, Alicandro for coming on, mixing it up on this Thursday. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back right after this.